So in 8.5 and 8.6, we are working with a system that has 3 unknowns, 3 variables. If you're looking for something that has 3 variables, you have to have 3 equations. They don't all have to have 3 variables, but you have to have 3 equations if there's 3 unknowns, okay? We are going to use a series of elimination methods to do this. If you can't see around this chair, you guys can just move, okay? Whatever you need to do, okay? A series of elimination methods. But as I have in typed capital letters there, it is very important to keep yourself organized and to keep yourself neat, because I got to go kind of a lot forward and then I have to go backwards, okay? These points are big. I need to see the work. I just have to see it. These are like 15-point questions, okay, because there's a lot of work involved in it. And the amount of work can grow based on what we need to do to eliminate variables, okay? So your job then is going to be to combine 2 equations together to eliminate a variable. Key thing number 2, combine a different 2 equations together to eliminate the same variable. That's key, because if you don't do number 2 correct, you just keep working in circles and you can never get to the answer, okay? 3, you're going to take the 2 equations from step 1 and 2 and combine them to eliminate a variable, and then you're going to work backwards to get the other ones. So it's really a series of elimination methods, okay? Like 3 different times. Maybe shorter, maybe even shorter on some questions, okay? So here we go. So my first system, I have 3 unknowns, 3 variables, and I'm trying to find the value of x, y, z. My answer is going to be an ordered triple. Okay, for note purposes only, because you don't have to do this, I am going to call this equation 1. I'm going to call this equation 2, and I'm going to call this equation 3. So if you refer back to your notes or something, you know where I got something from. You don't have to do that. I've corrected these things for a number of years, so I'm pretty good at following where you're going, for the most part. I usually give up after 10 minutes of not knowing what's going on, but usually I can follow it pretty well. Okay, so your job is to pick 2 equations, either 1 and 2, 2 and 3, or 1 and 3, and you want a variable to drop out. If you added them together using the elimination method, you want a variable to drop out of there. So when I'm looking at this, I see z on 2 and 3. If I combine equation 2 and equation 3, my z's are going to drop right away. Okay? Now, where it gets more difficult or more challenging is that won't happen. You're going to have to multiply the equations together to make it happen. But it's going to happen right away. So I'm going to take equation 2, and I'm going to add it to equation 3. And I'm not going to rewrite them, I'm just going to do that. So x plus 3x is 4x. Y plus y is 2y. Positive 2z and negative 2z cancel. And negative 1 and positive 5 is 4. And I'm going to take that equation and I'm going to put a box around it, because I'm going to come back to it. I'm not finished with it yet. So I used my elimination method to eliminate the z's. Now, second step is to put a different 2 equations together. So either put 1 with 2 or 1 with 3. But when you do that, you have to get z to drop out again. You've got to get the same variable. If you pick a different variable, then it's not going to work. Okay? So it's got to be z again. So whatever you choose the first time, you've got to choose the second time. So I'm going to go with 1 and 3. And the only reason I chose 1 and 3 over the 1 and 2 was that one's positive and one's negative already. That's the only reason. Okay? So if I look at equation 1 and equation 3, and I want my z's to drop out, I'm going to have to do what? Multiply equation 1 by 2. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take 2 times equation 1, and I'm going to add equation 3. Now, I'm not going to do this in my head. This is where if you try starting to do all this in your head, you don't get it right. So write it down. So equation 1, I'm going to multiply by 2. So I'm going to get 2x minus 4y plus 2z. And here's one of the biggest mistakes. Literally, I'm not kidding. 2 times 0 is not 2. It's 0. Anything times 0 is 0. So 2x minus 4y plus 2z equals 0. It's worth taking the 5 seconds to recheck your work, because it's hard to go back and try to find a mistake. Okay? Now I said I'm going to put that with equation 3, so I'm going to rewrite that one. I'm not changing it at all. And then I add down and I get 5x minus 3y. My z's cancels just as I wanted them to, equals 5. And I put a box around that one. So I've taken the system and I've created now 2 equations with 2 variables, which you just did on your assessment today. So now I'm going to take those 2 and do linear combination or elimination and get a variable to drop out. Okay? I'm going to go with my y's. So I have a positive 2 and I have a negative 3. That means I'm going to make them 6. So I'm going to take the top one up here by 3, and I'm going to take this one times 2. So I get 12x plus 6y equals 12. And I have 10x minus 6y equals 10. I add, and I have 22x, y's cancel, equals 22. And then divide, and x is 1. So I have my first value. Once you get the first value, that's obviously where the most work comes in, to get that first one. Then I just work backwards. So you go back first to one of the boxes. Either one, it doesn't matter. They're going to give you the same y value. So you go back to one of the boxes. I'll just go to this bottom one here. And I plug in my 1 for x. So I'm going to have 5 times 1 is 5. So 5 minus 3y is 5. Subtract 5. So minus 3y is 0. And then divide, and y is 0. So go back once you get the first one, plug it into one of the boxes, it doesn't matter which one, and you get your second value. Then, once you get the second one, you go back to the question, the original question, the very beginning. So this is what I mean by working backwards. Go back to one of them, it doesn't matter which one. I'm going to go to the top one. And then plug in your x and your y and find z. So x is 1, y is 0. So I have 1 minus 2 times 0 plus z equals 0. So 2 times 0 is 0. So 1 plus z equals 0. Subtract 1, and z is a negative 1. So my ordered triple answer, in order, that's why it's called an ordered triple, 1, 0, negative 1. And again, this answer is checkable. That ordered triple has to work in all 3 equations. If it doesn't work in all 3, then it's not correct. It might work in 2 but not the 3rd, then it's not right. Okay, questions so far? Typically, what happens is there's not a lot of questions. It looks like you can do it, and then people sit down to do it, and then it gets jumbled somehow. So that happens sometimes, okay? Okay, let's look at the next example.